Computer. All righty. So this my poor daughter started feeling bad last night. So I don't know if
Mm.
you can hear in the background. I hope not. Um, she's coughing and going on. Anyway, um, session 9. What I'd love to ask you is what is different than where you were when you started? What's different?
Tommy, can you go first? I'm transitioning from the car to the house. That's all.
It, you know, it's difficult for me to say what's different. I
Mm-hmm.
think I have I have new questions,
Mm-hmm.
but I still have work to do. So if there's
Mm-hmm.
anything that's different, it's that I at least know some of the questions I need to ask to get me to where I want to be. Um,
That's good though.
and
What is one of the new
from
questions?
uh, the the last time I felt peace, that should not have
Mm.
been that difficult of a question for me.
And so when
A
you weren't
lot of
able to
thinking.
answer it, what did
Yeah.
you learn?
I wasn't able to answer. I think I struggle with even what, so as I'm journaling and trying to figure this out, I struggle with what that word even means for me.
Really?
I have moments of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as my nature, I immediately start thinking about something that disrupts my peace for myself, some
Mm-hmm.
other thing I need to do, I need to get done, something I haven't done, something I didn't do as well as I should have. That's why the celebration thing was hard. And I've had bosses for years, good mentors and friends and people I worked with. It is the milestones along the way to the destination. I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't celebrate till something's done.
Oh,
And then I had a really good friend of mine say, "But Jamie, with you, it's never
yeah.
you're never done. As soon as you get to doneness, you've already planned 8 other things to take that thing to the next level or higher." And so there's a lot of overthinking happening with me. I think it's, I got to sit with some stuff and really decide.
Yeah.
The thing I came up with the last time I felt peaceful, I don't know if I was at peace, but peaceful would have been my middle daughter's graduation, because all of my babies were back under one roof. My bonus baby who lives in St. Louis, um, all four of my kids were together.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to worry about I'm not thinking about where anybody is. Are they in a ditch
Yeah.
somewhere? The girls are in
That's
their
wonderful.
20s, they're young adults, but they were with me. And I was just like, yeah, this is peaceful.
That's wonderful.
Uh,
I have an observation.
mhm.
The times that you've shared that you've, in this case, felt some peace or peaceful, and times that you felt accomplished, it had to do with other people, namely your kids.
Mhm.
Is there anything about Jamie that you can celebrate or just a happy place? And when I say place, it doesn't have to be a space, somewhere or something that you engage in that gives you a peaceful feeling.
That's really it, which is part of in our one-on-one talk that we had last year. I've been doing this mom thing 24 years, driving factor that allowed me to go to a job I hated for years.
Mm-hmm.
And as I come to not the end of it, but certainly a transition point with now my youngest about to go
Mm-hmm.
off to college in the fall. He did get his first college acceptance letter to Iowa State, so one
That's
down, five
awesome.
to go. Um, Figuring out an identity apart from that, because
Yeah.
when she, my goals have been related to the children,
Yeah.
and
And
I've done that work. And so now, what next? I have no idea.
And the work that you've done for
who have
yourself.
passions and they know what they want to do and what they want to go after and what they tackle. No idea. No clue.
Well, you've given them the space to look at those things.
Mhm.
So it sounds like getting to know Jamie, the woman, not necessarily the mother, is on the top of your list.
It is.
Which,
About this because I had Kyla at 17. I don't know what it is to be an adult and not
yeah.
be mothering.
Mm-hmm.
My 24-year-old relocated self, and I'm like, I've never done that. What's that? I was like, you were my first roommate. I don't know what it's like to be by myself.
Yeah.
And it's just more questions, deep probing questions I need to sit with and figure out.
What's your favorite song, Jamie? Do you have one?
Not really.
Do you listen to
I was
music?
gonna say something that's gonna be terrible because it's what the kids and I used to listen to on road trips, and it's called Chicken Monkey Duck, and it just says Chicken Monkey Duck over and over again. And I
Okay.
would put that on when I was in a bad mood. But that's the
Well, but let me
kids.
ask you something about that song. Chicken Monkey Duck. I could get into that. That has some flow. I mean, I have a 10-year-old, so I'm not too far from that myself.
You should play
What
that song
about
for
the
her. It's on
song?
YouTube. It's fantastic.
I have to check it out. What about the song gave you a lift?
It's just a goofy song. You don't have to think about it too much. There's no deep meaning behind it. It's literally just saying those three words over and over again to a fun beat. There's
My
it,
cousin
it,
and
it's
I and my sister, when we were little, we'd go spend the night at her house with her mother and father in Arkansas. When we'd go visit our grandmother, they lived beyond the cemetery in this little bitty town across the railroad tracks. We were in the country. And it'd be so dead quiet in the middle of the night. And we're supposed to be going to bed. And, they had the fold out sofa, and some of us would be on the floor, all stretched out under blankets and such like that. And in the middle of the night, you thought everybody was asleep. Somebody would say, chicken dog squat. And we'd all fall out laughing. Just chicken dog squat. To this day, we are all grown. We are all in our 50s. And if one of us says chicken dog squat, instant laughter. It's instant. Jamie, when's the last time you listened to that song?
oh probably 3 years ago, 2, 3 years ago. It was the
You know
last time
what?
we were road tripping.
Chicken Monkey Duck needs to come out of the crates.
It's a fun song. They all roll their eyes. It's hilarious, but it's a goofy,
It does
goofy
sound like
song.
you need some joy right now, Jamie. A
I
giggle.
do.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
A giggle. So don't boil the ocean. Look for the little giggles. Find something that makes you smile. Do you think that's something you can do?
Mhm.
Okay. Just keep it simple. You don't have to go deep and try and understand why, oh my gosh, why am I forever, eternally a mother and my kids are grown and leaving me and I'm still a mother? You don't even have to go that deep. Just find something. And I think Chicken Monkey Duck is a good start. If you can find other things that make you giggle and make you smile, find out a way to add that to your life. So, Heather, welcome, welcome.
Hey, y'all.
Your hair is pretty. I like that. That's pretty. I like the little
Thank
flip.
you.
That's cute.
Trying
So
to
the
do
question on the
something because I gotta wash it every week after his swim lessons.
how's that going?
Few steps forward, couple steps back,
Yeah,
getting frustrated, but making progress. I just, gotta stick with it.
good, good. That's all we can do, right? Stick with it.
Mhm.
So the question on the table is, from the time we started to now, what's different?
I'm not overreaching as much
Mm,
with like a whole bunch of goals, and am I missing a goal? Do I have everything to fill out that client action tracker. Yeah, some things are taking a little bit more time, and I'm okay with that
You're okay
because
with it.
they're bigger goals, and I'm trying to accept that I've at least made very good progress on them. So
That's good.
I'm recognizing everything does not happen in the steps that I think that they're going to happen, but they end up happening. So
Yeah.
that is my intention. And
Sometimes it's zigzag and sometimes it just drops in your lap.
yeah.
Randy, what's different? You're one and Jamie is too. Y'all actually started with the challenge. So
We started
10 weeks in 4
from the
days.
beginning. Yeah. So I'm cured.
Cured.
Thanks, El Michelle.
Right. Dr. El Michelle. I can't cure anybody.
No, I'm good. So um, so I kind of noticed that, like, I fix kind of what I focus on, and be what it was going to be, because I try to chip away at everything that occurs to me. I'm in a pretty good space right now, and it's really just kind of some building blocks that I started, and this accelerated it. Uh, but it was mostly dealing with. I would talk to Heather about this. I feel like I'm repeating myself.
It's okay.
But dealing with stress more positively.
Mm-hmm.
So in really the challenge mindset, like taking on the challenge with gusto rather than it being a hindrance or an obligation or whatever, and then also the tend to befriend, connecting with people, and then learning how to connect with people, and then really diving into that, and then that really started to give back, and there's this side benefit to when you reframe stress, all of a sudden gratitude comes out of nowhere. Like you just started really. I mean, I was on my way to work, and I was yelling at a blue door and how pretty the door was. I was like, this door. But then
What
I
was
was
it?
like,
This door, it's just so beautiful. I mean,
I was like,
show us.
yeah, I was like, you're so beautiful. Why are you so blue?
Positive emotion can show up any kind of way, right?
It did. It's a real appreciation for the moment. And what's happening in my life is really good. And so the big, the big area. So there was like ego was behind me in my 30s. And then it was finding my passion. And I found that over the last few years. And by the way, Johnny, to find a passion, I don't know. I can't, just in my situation, it is hard. It is like getting reborn. Like I like it just is like a terraform. Like it just took all, like it took everything I had and changed everything from the root. All right. But there were a couple of things that I figured out that, that I wanted, and I wrote those down, and I kind of followed that and found out where I was supposed to be. And so the last one was interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
And God, and man, the connections that I made, and I reconnected with you, same kind of way. And that intention toward it. And these last 2 weeks have been pretty fantastic. And what a big help to me was figuring out what my role was supposed to be. It was just that's what I needed. I needed like those. I need to know my role, what should be asked of me and what doesn't need to be asked of me. And remember, I was having trouble expressing myself if I didn't like something.
Yes.
In a way that wasn't negative, or I felt guilty because my position with that person. I'm the son, I'm the husband, I'm the whatever.
Mhm.
But when I figured out what my role was, and that was through the help of talking to friends and stuff, then everything just got really clear. So it's been great for 2 weeks. That's the longest I've ever been in that real space. It's like,
Oh,
that
wow.
space between stimulus and the space between stimulus and response. I've been
Mhm.
living in that space, just sort of reframing everything that I hear in a way that's, where it gives the benefit of the doubt constantly.
Yeah.
Like I start with the benefit of the doubt,
Good for
and
you.
it's so positive. It's like it
That's
really
difficult. I
a
mean,
lot.
that takes discipline and stick to itness
Mm.
because, there are a lot of messages that you have to compete with in your head. And somehow you found a way to zero in on the most important things. And I think reflection, visualization, and interrogation are the three
Mm.
words for today. Especially as you guys begin to kind of roll off of this process and begin to really put these habits into place. It's going to take consistent reflection. Where have I been? Where am I going? The visualization kicks in there. And then that interrogation is asking the right questions and literally coaching yourself. What do I
Mm.
need now? What's missing? What have I accomplished? And being very intentional about those things. So the celebration journaling exercise is kind of long. And I went through it once and I felt like it was really, really helpful because one thing that I don't do very well, I've gotten better at it, is sitting down, taking the time to think through what I've accomplished. And Jamie, it sounds like that's something you struggle with too. Just to give yourself credit, right? And I think part of that is because we've been conditioned culturally in a lot of ways. Gender is one thing. Women, we're just not thinking about ourselves. We think about everybody else. We do that. Some of us, if we're of faith, sometimes we mistake, being humble with not recognizing ourselves when you can recognize yourself and still be humble. You can celebrate your achievements and do that. For some, it's cultural, like generational. Maybe you have parents that were very stoic and things could happen in their lives and they just keep rolling. My dad would always be, like, okay, just stay the course. It was never, let's go celebrate. Every once in a while we might go grab a pizza or something like that, but nothing really significant. So I kind of trained myself to be low key that way. And it was also under the guise of you want to stay humble. So in the celebration journaling exercise, what did you learn about yourself? And I know, Jamie, you kind of struggled with it. We'll come back to you to just find out what was hard about it. But Randy, Heather, you want to jump in? And Heather, yours was beautiful on the wall. It's gorgeous. I need to go through it with a fine tooth comb because there's a lot there. But I appreciated your attention to it. Either one of you, what'd you learn about yourself on that journey?
I learned that I didn't want to do it.
You didn't. Okay, you struggle with it too. Why didn't you want to do it?
uh, it wasn't a struggle. I think the fact that I didn't want to do it was interesting to me. It was is I don't know if I've ever looked backwards. Like I have the toughest time writing a resume. I'll forget everything that I've ever done. I'm just
Yeah.
it's always a blank slate. So looking back is always, but so I always look forward, and actually now I've actually I'm stopping that too. Um, and so I don't know. I can't speak intelligently on it. I don't know why I don't like to look backwards. I don't like to. I'm having a great time, and I keep celebrating the moments that I'm in. Um, but playing them back in my head, I don't. Like nothing, there's
So
something
what
in me
if
that says
it's
don't.
a matter of not so long ago? Because I think my issue is that I forget. I just forget, especially because I move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I think that's part of just who we are, even as people, as Black people, high performing.
Mhm.
We got it, it's done. Let's keep doing it. Let's get the next thing. And we never give ourselves a chance to say, what did I achieve? And the reason for it, and it may help you to know what the reason is. It's back to that positive emotion and getting you to gratitude, and also understanding your value even more. And one thing, Randy, as I'm thinking about it, in the workplace, we called it the "You Can't Fire Me" folder. I call it the kudos folder.
Mhm.
And, because you worked with your family for years, you probably never ever thought about doing that. I don't know. Maybe Lorenzo gave you reviews. I'm not sure.
No.
But
No.
when you're in this workplace environment and you're always, in some type of debate or push
Mhm.
pull about what you deserve or not,
Yep.
you learn over time that you got to jot these things down. And
That's what it is.
I had a
Yep.
kudos folder. And what I would do, if somebody complimented me on some of the work that I did, I drag that thing right into the folder. And that way I didn't have to sit there and think about it. But never once did I ever think about at the end of the week, reflecting on what my week was like, or even at the end of the day, reflecting on what my day was like, to say, what went well? What did I do well? And it's the
Mhm.
positive emotion that so many of us lack because we're always just challenging ourselves to do more, do more, do more.
Yeah.
Does any of that
Then
ring true for you when it comes to like never really having to?
yes, that's I think you hit it because I don't think it applies to me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm.
I've always been in positions where um like where well obviously with family they weren't going to let fire in, but I've always
I mean,
worked.
and Jamie was always going to tell you if something was wrong. So in the moment.
Well, usually it was me telling her something was wrong. It's like, Mom, please, can
I
we
believe
stay on
that.
topic? Can we stay on? But no, no. So I've always been in proactive positions in it's like running a business for you. Like it's the reward also, like whether or not you're doing well is really evident because the machine is unforgiving, right? Like it'll
Yeah.
break down. It's not somebody's assessment or opinion. It just will break down,
Mm-hmm.
and so that becomes a measuring stick. But that can be very rewarding as well. And then gratitude, like I said, once I started dealing with stress better, gratitude flows through me constantly. It's
Mm-hmm.
just from the moment because my toughest time is when I wake up first moment in the morning, and I'll have periods of my life where it doesn't bother me, but like sometimes it'll like the day will seem daunting, and
Mm-hmm.
those first waking hours, that's rough. And I
That's an
found ways.
entrepreneur all day long.
Yeah, I
I
found ways
fight
to
that in
talk.
the morning.
Yeah, it's just it's and I've learned not to listen to it because it's a wrong you. It'll tell you that is like you don't have enough energy to keep that going and all that stuff. And it's just a lie. Like
Yeah.
it's completely wrong. As soon I know not to stay in that space too long. Like you got to get
Mm-hmm.
up and you get going, and the narrative changes right away as soon as
Mm-hmm.
you just start putting all those pieces back in. But yeah. So that I think that's why, like, not looking backward, not looking forward, is serving me right now.
Yeah.
It is for some reason I'm really really balanced. It just feels
So I know you're not gonna like this, but I want you to try.
okay.
Try at least to make it through the first couple of prompts. That's
Well, I
all.
did like the last one. The
Oh,
last
you
one,
did? Okay.
well, the last one was to express gratitude to others.
Oh, well, that's
That I-
perfect for you.
yeah, that was that one I was because it was the one that wasn't focused on me so much. It was focused on
Ah,
yeah, and I
well, that's a
love
little bit of a breakthrough. Not focusing on you makes it easier.
yeah, it
So if you
makes
can
it
look
yeah.
back and look at the accomplishments of, say, your EA this week, It'd be easier for you.
Yeah, but not as long as I'm not involved. Like if I'm just looking at what he's done, like how he's changed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, but that's just me being happy for him, like that to see his development and when he wasn't growing to see growth there, like he wasn't even thinking about growing.
Yeah.
Like, and I could see it in spite of himself. Like he's starting to just think differently, and that is crazy to me.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
Okay. Well, I'm still gonna challenge you. Find two that have to do with you.
Okay. All right.
And answer those questions. Okay.
Okay.
Challenge yourself.
I'll do
Center
it now.
you for a second and see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay. I know that's hard. Heather.
You want me to do it right now, or I'll do it. I'll do it. I can do it.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
All right. Sounds good.
Heather. What'd you learn about
Yeah.
yourself in that exercise?
I learned that I really was on the right track.
Ah.
Because, when we started this challenge, I remember sharing with you all that to get out of a tough spot at work last year, I had to start telling people how good I was at my job. And I had to start, breaking things down. And I think I didn't have a kudos folder, but it takes me a long time to do like those performance review things or like look backs because it's so much. Because my brain is trained like this is the time to recall all of that. And so for me, I realized that I was already on the right track because one of my goals is celebrating a milestone birthday. And so part of celebrating that birthday is being able to celebrate just like myself because I haven't really done that. So yeah.
Good. So Jamie, it was difficult for you. Did you start it?
I did.
And where did you get stuck? Where were you when you were like, ah?
I got to the first or the second E and realized everything I'd written was about the kids.
Ah.
And then I said, okay. And I think a big part of it is when I left AT&T, which we've talked about, and that was such, that was the other part of my identity, right? I was two things. I was a mom and I was an AT&T employee, and those were the things.
There were a lot of those and still are.
Right? And then I wasn't that anymore. And then, a lot of my accomplishments when I did used to rah-rah were tied to my work. It was the work. I did the work and I did the work well, and look at my work, right?
For the globe, no doubt.
You can talk like it's the strangest thing. If someone were to insult me about how I look or my hair, any of that, whatever, I roll off my back. You talk about my work, I am destroyed.
It's personal.
Right?
Well, and we
so
talked about where
I've
some of that
spent the
came
last
from growing up.
5 years like disconnecting from that, trying to separate that part of myself. It's like the work is just the work. The work is a means to an end. The work is not who I am. And then it's like, well, who are you? Like back to this blank sheet of paper with a bunch of questions on it that I don't feel like I can answer.
Yeah. So your inner critic.
Oh, she's horrible. She's
is
mean.
overpowering your inner sage. And you do have an inner sage inside. I'm going to show you something. Hold on a second. My poor baby in there is just coughing up stuff. Sorry if y'all can hear. It's interesting. I had a aerospace manufacturing company ask me to do an entire workshop on this topic. So it was interesting going back through all 10 weeks of content in the 4 days too, and parsing together what I would share with them. We've covered a lot. Let's see here. Is it that one? But one of these videos I don't think you've seen. 1 of 22, yeah. and it talks about the inner critic and the inner sage. This computer is very slow. Going the wrong way. Pardon me. Hmm. Hang on a second. Something's tickling my throat. I'll be right back.
Heather, I'm looking at the pictures you posted up here. Wow, this is nice.
I had fun with it.
That's beautiful.
I had fun with it. Thank you. Yeah.
But
You know how you get that tickling in your throat and it's like you can't get rid of it.
what did you do? Drink a, like, how did you take care of it?
Water.
Water? Oh.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Guess I have to push play.
Your limiting beliefs holding you back? It's Al Michelle Smith with your Rockstar Leadership Tip of the Day. Your Rockstar Leadership Tip of the Day is this. Your limiting beliefs are powerful, my sister. But you know what? If you can identify them and understand where they come from, you will be able to defang your inner critic. The first step is to write them down. You know, you have a top 3, and these
Uh-oh. Buffering.
values can motivate you intrinsically. Your limiting beliefs can demotivate you intrinsically. So write them down, sis. And I'm going to ask you to tap into your inner sage. Your inner sage knows the positive facts that will debunk that inner critic. So write them down one by one, your limiting beliefs, and then counter them with that positive self-talk that you know to be true about yourself. It's your Rockstar Leadership Tip of the Day. I'll see you online.
Okay, so your limiting beliefs are just as strong as your values. You know, as much as we spent time realigning with those so we can understand how to prioritize things in our lives so that we can regain our peace and be more productive, you have to do the same thing with your inner critic and those limiting beliefs. And part of it is that we don't really spend much time consciously thinking about what it is we tell ourselves that stops us from doing what we're trying to do. So in your case, Jamie, you were simply trying to celebrate yourself. And your inner critic, I don't know what she's saying to you. What's she saying? You know, Heather knows a lady that I know named Trudy Bourgeois, and she talks about the itty bitty committee, those folks in your brain that just talk to you all the time. What does your inner critic say to you? What are some of these limiting beliefs that you have that makes you skip you and go straight to your kids?
That I haven't really done anything.
Ah, But you were very proud of the work you did at AT&T.
Yeah, that was the work. I don't really have much to show for it other than some bullets on a resume.
Mm-hmm. And so this is
So
what you're believing about yourself at Microsoft too, right?
I'm really not doing anything at Microsoft. I know that's not a limiting belief. That's me saying I'm doing exactly what you're paying me for. I'm done being a rock star. Like, done. Don't
You've
put me on
checked
a
out.
list. Don't give me a team. I don't want none of that. I just want this check. Um,
What caused you to check out?
I don't think well, it's not, I don't think. I have never fully recovered or taken the time to recover from the bad boss experience I had in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
the burnout I was already feeling before I went into that job, and the burnout that came after.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just kind of been on autopilot, and it's one of those things that even when I say, what do I do next? It's I have always been pretty good at anything. So there's not one thing that lights me up or excites me to be like, yeah, that's the thing I want to go do, or oh, that's something like that connects. It's stuff and
Well, and the
things.
thing about companies like AT&T, especially when you spend a lot of time there, you might go from job to job inside of that organization and you become a generalist. That's what I see mostly there. You have some specialists like in the legal department or people who are in HR or even corp com. But in general, to move up, you kind of move around. Would you say that was what your experience was?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it was, for me, I was on all the special lists, but I wasn't in any programs, right? I wasn't an LDP, I wasn't any of that, right? So my moves were self-directed in a lot of ways, and people calling me up and saying, hey, I want you to come work for me. So I did a lot of things. Like I said, did them well.
But you had a
Um,
lot of
in
trauma.
some ways became a specialist. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Became a
The
specialist in the compliance policy work. That's,
mhm.
the thing that Microsoft picked me up for. Um, I don't know. It's the work. I feel like there is something I'm supposed to do.
Of course
I
there
don't
is.
know what that something is.
Right. And it's okay to be there, Jamie. And the good news is that you've recognized it. The hurt, the getting passed over, and what even led you to leave and go to Microsoft. There's still open wounds there. What do you think? If you could heal those wounds, might you be clearer or at least open to what might be for you?
I don't know. The other limiting belief is, you know how old you are to be starting over?
Ah,
Like
can I
just
can I
hang
guess
out.
that you're younger than me,
You did
Jamie?
what you were supposed to do with the kids.
Can I
Mhm,
just guess that you're younger than me?
mhm.
Would you be a millennial or a Gen Xer?
Uh, Gen X, I think. Yeah.
And when you say start over, what do you mean start over?
I know it's not corporate. I've done that. Um, and so it would be doing something that's totally unknown.
Is that the scary part? To not
It's not
be in corporate again?
no. And I think that's the part. The scary part for me is just the not knowing, because I, for the most part, for 2 decades, have known. Even if not specifically, I've had a general idea of a plan, a strategy, what I was working towards, what I was doing, why I was doing it, who I was doing it for. That was all very clear. And now nothing is.
So it was easier when you felt you had a little bit more control.
Yeah.
And this uncertainty puts you in a position where you feel like you don't have control.
That could be part of it.
Tell me more.
It's not even control. I think if 2018 showed me anything, I'm not time that has forced me to let go of those controlling tendencies. I think if I had a general idea, like when I was pursuing law school, and I've now put that on hold, at least I felt like I was working towards something, but that didn't feel right. That felt like appeasing some version of myself that doesn't exist. I can't remember what session it was in, but it was Heather who said it didn't matter if they liked me, they had to like my work.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that in my spirit, and I put it in my
Mm-hmm.
journal, and I circled it with a Sharpie because I was at that place. And I had to come out of that. Then I had to like me. I had to do that work. And I've taken all the assessments, so many assessments. I took one earlier this week at work. They did something called the high five. What are your high fives, right? And then we
High
did
five what?
it's high five strengths. It's
What
another
kind of
strengths
strength?
thing. Let's see. I got it up on my board here. So it's a strength test. They've got, I don't know, 6 different dimensions of your strengths. It reminds me a lot of Strengths Finder, but a different name for
Mm-hmm.
it, but in that vein. And I've
More
taken all
in
of,
work styles and abilities.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's just like more of the same, no surprises. Oh, I'm a strategist, a problem solver, a thinker. I know every other assessment I've ever taken has told me the exact same thing. What do I do with that?
Do
And then
you
I
feel
married a
like that you're
dreamer.
in just a perpetual brain fog right now?
Oh,
These
yeah.
things look hazy.
Mhm.
Yeah. You got to
Like I
get
want to
your
go to an
aha moment
island
back.
by myself for like 90 days where there are no distractions and have myself a moment in the wilderness. Like something's gonna come to me. Just like
Oh,
I'll disconnect from everything and everybody, and then it will just
let's
reveal
do it. Let's do it.
itself.
What's stopping you?
Uh Money.
Does it have to be something that's expensive?
Yeah, because I need to be by myself, but somebody's got to feed me, and
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could say I want to do a week in the Poconos or a week in the Alps, or you could say I want to go to Broken Bow, which is right up the road.
I would like a beach.
A beach. Okay. Keep talking.
I'm going to Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, that sounds
We
cool.
got beaches. Well, you're on the opposite coast now, right? You're in
You're in
Seattle.
Dallas.
I'm in Dallas.
Okay, y'all got hill country.
Is your work remote?
Mm-hmm.
So, because that wasn't it like Tim Ferriss or somebody was saying like you wind up actually spending less money if you go to the right than you do staying home. And if you go to certain places, right, like cost of living is like if you're, because travel expenses start to go away if you're gone for a very long time.
Well, I need to not,
You would have
the other
spent it
money
anyway,
thing
right?
is I need to not work. I need to not have to log on and, deal with corporate compliance stuff. I need to do nothing.
What do you
or
need to do to make this
nothing.
happen?
Mm.
Oh, come on, Jamie. Come on.
Save up, set aside the money, make the plan with the husband, take some work,
How much money
research
does it
places
take?
to go. I don't know yet. It's always been just kind
So
of
how do you know that
a
you have to
thing.
save up money first if you
Because we
don't know
got
how much you're
bills.
going to
Because
spend?
we have bills, and we will have 2 kids in college, one who has a scholarship but not for room and board, and one who may not get a scholarship, and
Okay.
that requires 2 incomes.
But
And
Jamie, it sounds like you have all that mapped out, but you haven't mapped out what you need to do for yourself. That's what I want to challenge you to do, to take some time and actually think of where do I want to go? how much does it actually cost? What's my first step to making this happen? I don't think you allow yourself to do it because you're already thinking, we got kids in college and doing all this.
It's funny you said that the assessment says that you're a problem solver, and you said, "What do I do with that?"
I don't want to solve my own problems, Randy. I want to solve other people's problems.
Oh, I get it. Sorry. Sorry.
You know,
I,
as my
I
resume says, I influence decision makers. I just don't make decisions.
I had to take a 3-month leave when I was at Microsoft recently in the pandemic. No, the pandemic started when I was on leave. And it was the hardest thing I had to do because I said to myself, oh, I don't take breaks. I don't stop. But it was paid for. There are a lot more people doing it. And I know this because I was at Microsoft and I know how they were talking about leaves and all that other stuff. But depending on where you are and how far you are, where you really got to get away, there's an option. And it pays.
I don't know how much stock you're sitting on from AT&T.
Oh, I got rid of all of it. It was worthless.
Oh, well. There may be some things that you could cash out really quickly and be gone. But then on the other hand, we just don't even know what kind of money we're talking about spending. It may not even be that much.
That's true.
So can you commit to looking into what it would take? How much time do you want to take?
I think that's the other thing. I kind of want to go until it happens, but I know that's not a realistic thing because that could be 2 weeks, that could be 6 months. And I'm pretty sure my husband would not be okay with me being in the wilderness for 6 months.
Are you sure? Have you talked to him?
No.
And does he know why? Okay. So Jamie, I see you saying no to yourself before you even look into things. And I would really love to see you start to look into things before you give yourself an unequivocal no. Because you're going to stay right in the same place.
Fair enough.
Jamie, are you, I'm wondering with this, because it sounds like when you try to consider every variable in there at the same time, it feels big. Are you looking at it like all at the same priority, looking at it at the same time? Or have you, because can you break it? You know how they say, how do you eat an elephant, right? If you broke it down into these very little bites, have you tried that? You know, where you just figure out just one thing that might help you along and then just remove that obstacle. So you have one less and then another one, and, you know, just sequentially. Have you tried that and it doesn't work?
Yeah, I mean, have I sat down and tackled this the way I would something I was doing for somebody else? No. I'll look up a place that somebody has told me about that was really great, and I'll see what it cost and where it is, and I'll look up a flight, and I'll go, no, that's too much. I don't want to do that. You know, and then a couple more months will go by, and I'll see something while I'm doing something, and be like, oh, that looks like a good place, and you know, poke around at that. Same thing. Oh, I don't want to spend that much. Oh, that timing doesn't work out. And there may be some fear there of what if I do it and I don't come out any differently than I went in, and now I wasted this time and money, and I could have just stayed at home in the bed.
And what if you go and just the opposite happens?
There's also a fear there because now I know, and now I got to go do something about it.
Fear is the enemy in the book. It always is. But here's the thing, Jamie, fear never goes away. Fear is actually what defines bravery and courage. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
It's funny,
the question is, what small step can you take? Little bitty step, like Randy said, chunking. Just nibble off the elephant. Don't bite the whole thing. You can't.
But with those like parallel stories running in your head, like what could happen if it goes badly? What happens if it works? Whenever you do that, you have to think like what so if it went badly, the worst that would happen is you'd be back where you are right now. Maybe a few dollars less, but if you problem solve this right, you may have actually more money. But if it goes well, um, it's sort of limitless of how good it could be, right? So there's a floor to how bad it could be, but in this case, it's limitless how good it could be. And so is you kind of standing in this room with two doors you could go through, right? And you have to pick which one, or you just stay in the room, right?
Well, and again, one of the biggest tools against fear, Jamie, is information. It's a plan because it eliminates the unknown. So maybe what you need to do is think about pulling out your journal, pulling out a sheet of paper, and answering those two questions. What if it goes wrong? What will I do? What if it goes right? What will I do? And put it out on paper so you can see it. Right now, it's just kind of gobbledygook in your brain and you're just vetoing it. No, 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 no. Does that sound like something you could take on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So next time we meet, I'll be anxious to see what you come up with.
Okay.
All right. Oh, y'all, this is a good one. 5 minutes to go. I will give you open QA for me. That's rare. Coaches rarely answer questions. They usually just ask them.
All right.
What questions do you have for me?
I wish I had preparation for this.
You'll hit me up later on. You'll text me, be like, okay, here's the question I wanted to ask.
What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. And I don't know if I'd frame it as a fear. But my biggest, I would say, challenge that keeps me awake sometimes is just making sure that Joni has everything she needs. Not even after I'm gone, but as she grows and things change in our world. Because right now we're going through a bunch of change, especially as my parents age. So yeah, not a fear, but definitely a challenge. Randy, I've faced some big devils in my life. So I keep thinking about how I overcame those, and with the help of God, I got over those things. And those were some pretty crucial things. So not much scares me. And I've pushed through so much fear at this point that I know I can get to the other side. So no, I think one of my biggest challenges that I grapple with is making sure that Joni has everything she needs as a result of what I'm doing today. And I'm thinking future type of thing. If she wants to pick up and go to school at Howard and says, "Mommy, come with me." Yeah, okay. Sure, let me get a place up in DC. Let's go to Howard, or whatever she wants to do. I want to be able to do that kind of thing. So that's where I am. I'll tell you what, this morning was a real it's a puzzle, but I guess part of me always believes that there's an answer in it somewhere. You just have to keep at it, keep thinking about it. And we had this ice storm, and then we were hoping that things would have thawed by this morning. And even her school was talking about reopening. But it wasn't until late in the evening that they sent an email out that said, "We'll open at 10 o'clock. But then they say this: "We won't count tardies or absences if you can't make it." So to me, that's squishy. It's like, claim a spot, do something, claim a side, any side, just land on something. But they let this ambiguity. But the thing was, school opens at 10. I had a major speaking engagement today at 10 o'clock. And what was throwing me was I didn't know if the ice was going to be melted enough for me to get to my office where my best equipment is, my production equipment, and how I was going to get Joni to school and still deliver the way I needed to deliver this morning. And I didn't want to bother my parents with any of this. Now, here's the catch-22. She goes to bed with 100-degree fever. It goes up to 102 in the middle of the night. So I'm up all night, trying to get her over this fever and wondering, okay, school, like what? So I'm texting my sister who lives all of 90 seconds from me. And I'm like, hey, Joyce, I think I need you. Let's not mention this to the parents, because at almost 80 years old, those people would try and get in a car and be on the ice trying to get to me. No, we're not doing that. Can I bring Joni over at 8 o'clock? What's your, schedule like? She has an 11 o'clock class she has to teach at the college at home. So it's like, well, I won't be finished with my speaking engagement at that point. So if you need to take her over to the parents, and this is me thinking the roads would be a little passable. My parents only live 10 minutes away. The school is 15 minutes away in DeSoto. And her husband is going, I don't think either one of y'all need to think about going to DeSoto. So I'm thinking, okay, they gave us the option. So maybe Joni doesn't need to go, but I don't even know how she's going to feel. So anyway, all this was going on, swimming around in my brain, and Joyce was planning to come over here. 7:30 in the morning, and Joyce calls and she says, you know what? I fell twice trying to get in the car because her car was outside. I was like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah. I was like, scrap it. We're not doing this. We can't do it. And besides, she still has a fever. So then it became, how do I take care of Joni and make this little equipment work for me here at home? I mean, but some people would get in that position and just be like, oh, Lord, and just throw up their hands and woe is me and all of that. No, I was like, this is going to work. We're going to figure out how it's going to work. I could go on, but ultimately, those kinds of things, I actually frame up just about anything that happens in life like that. So if this doesn't happen, what about this? Okay, worst case scenario, what are my crystal balls and rubber balls? I had a $10,000 contract with these people to show up online and talk to them. That was going to happen. Okay. That was a crystal ball. Couldn't happen. But Joni's a crystal ball too. Mm-hmm. So how am I going to figure out how to get her lunch and make sure she's got her Tylenol and everything, and she's not crying because she's feeling bad while I'm down here trying to talk to these people? That's what it came down to.
Do you feel like it's game time when that happens? Like you get up for it, like this is what you're made for? Or does it feel sort of still feel like you're not?
Well, in this situation, it was daunting because I'm thinking, man, if this ice was not on the road, some of these things would fix themselves. But it was like one thing was being hurled at me after the other, And in some cases, I think, well, this is just a spiritual attack, which does make me go, okay, I'm fighting back. Like, you're not going to win, devil. Like, Satan, not today, And I will dig in, but there is that moment of, oh, really? Yeah. Is this what we're doing today?
I know I always feel that whenever there's more than two things.
Yeah.
I can handle when it goes to 3 or more.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Discipline is separated into one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's back to Jamie, but too, right?
But this is one of those times where, and I finally gotten to the point where I can ask for help. That's been a struggle for me too, not asking for help.
Oh, really?
But yeah, asking Joyce and saying, hey, can you help? That seemed easy. But in that situation where, even my sister's life was at stake, falling on ice, it was like, okay, I have to do this myself, period. And I have to deliver with the same excellence. I had to think through things like, well, you know what? This client has never seen me in 4K, with the cameras and the lights and everything. So they don't even know what the bar is. And sure enough, when I showed up, they're like, oh, you look great. I have to think to myself, they don't know any different. 80% is fine today, because I'm used to doing that 120% and showing up like I'm on CNN.
It's funny.
Today, we had to look like we were at home like everybody else.
It's the 80-20 rule. What really matters. That's cool. It's a really cool story.
You need mommy? What is it, Pumpkin? I miss you too. I'm about done, okay? 2 more minutes. All right.
Well, Jamie, I've known you for 5 minutes. So I want you to know you deserve it. If there was ever a question that you deserve what you're looking for, and you deserve the break. You deserve all those things, and one thing that served me well, I used to call it Past Randy to my wife, because I would set myself up. Like, I'd think of, hey, this could go wrong in the future. Or, Randy, you're gonna need this to remember this thing or whatever. And I would set myself up, and over time I became my own best friend. Like, I was one of the people I was taking care of, just like everybody else. Um, and, and I think that could serve you, from what you're telling me, what you're saying. If you're still there. All right. So.
I am. I'm trying not to cry all in this microphone. Thank you.
You can, Jamie. This is a safe space, and we'll give you the biggest cyber hug we can.
Yeah. You're all right.
Thank you, guys. It was good to say some of this out loud instead of just in my journal.
Yeah. And Jamie, reach out, like I've said, over these 10 weeks, I've been available. If you want to do 15-minute, little laser coaching or something to get you over the hump or celebrate with you, you can do that. You can just shoot me a text.
Thank you.
It seems like I'm always chatting with Heather and Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Paula too.
And a critic said I didn't have anything to say. So don't.
You better tell that bitch to sit down somewhere.
Oh, she's rough. My husband and I had a conversation about her for the first time, because like she is real, she is present, she is loud. And we had a conversation about her for the first time.
Well, your hubby can help you with that too. He is so rooting for you. I've only met him once, and it's through LinkedIn. And he was so happy about the work you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And he reached out to me, and I didn't even know he was your husband. He's like, "Thank you for working with my wife." I was like, wait a minute. His last name is Bailey. So cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if you can't muster up the positive self-talk, ask him to help you.
He does. And he can tell you my corporate, and it's grossly embarrassing when he does it, but he helps. He's fantastic.
Okay. Well, and then ask yourself why it's embarrassing. You got to think through all of that stuff. Because that's the itty bitty committee too. Telling you to shrink. You're going to be okay. And Randy's right. You deserve everything that's around the corner. And it's not that far away. Not that far away.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Heather
Feather, do you have anything else to add, my love? What? Wait, I'm sorry. Was I talking over you, Jamie?
I said I'm gonna go upstairs and get some child support, which is what I call it when I have my children come hug me. I just yell, I need some child support.
Well, you poured into them. It's time, Yeah. Let them pour into you.
Yeah, they're rooting me on too. We just all trying to figure this out together. They're like, Mom, go. And I'm like, go where? Do what when I get there? So yeah.
You don't have to leave town either. I mean, let me tell you, one of my favorite spots is at the Omni Mandalay in Las Colinas. There's a spa downstairs. Joni knows. Mommy goes away. I might do a little writing, but that's it.
Yeah. I want to go to the resort in Carefree, Arizona. That's a whole other thing. I'm gonna let y'all go. Yeah.
That sounds good. Tell me all about it, because I still need to plan our flyaway retreat.
Yeah. The town is called Carefree.
I love it.
And
sounds like a place I need to go.
mm-hmm.
Heather Feather, do you have anything to add before we go?
No, not right now.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
All right, folks, I am proud of y'all. I am so proud of you. So proud of you. You're doing the work. You should be proud of yourselves. Something to celebrate, Randy.
I was just thinking, I'm so proud of you guys.
So proud of us.
Yes.
Us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reach out to Paula, give her a good word. She's still fighting through stuff at work, but she's gonna make it. And with that, I will let you go. I will post this recording probably tomorrow. Y'all have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next week. I have certificates. Yay.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.